On today's episode, capacity planning, budgeting, and timesheets. Welcome back to episode 15 of Weekly Q&A with Steph. So this week I've talked to 3 different accountants about the notion of capacity planning. And this whole idea of capacity planning is exceptionally difficult to deal with if you don't have a few things already set in place in your business. So our discussion started, of course, with timesheets and whether we should be doing timesheets or not. We're not going to have that conversation today. If you're doing timesheets for billing, you really shouldn't be. If you're doing timesheets for recording how long something is taking you to work out your capacity, or better still, doing timesheets to work out how much you've been able to shave off from last year to this year, that is fantastic. So for those of you doing that exercise, the capacity planning that comes next will be much easier. So for capacity planning, you have to have a few fundamentals right. The first one is you need to know what services you are actually providing to your clients in the first place. If you're doing fixed price billing and you're doing the upfront services using Practice Ignition now, then it's much easier to do this exercise. Practice Ignition actually have a fantastic spreadsheet that Guy has put together on working out how long services take you, who you have to perform those services, i.e. your team, and then how many clients you already have and therefore how much capacity you have left. And it's an awesome spreadsheet, so we will link that at the end of the video as well so you can all download it, but it certainly is a great tool and we use it to do our capacity planning each year internally as well. So the fundamentals that you need to have right is you must know what services you're going to provide and must have an idea of how long each of those things are going to take you during the year. If you've got that, you can work backwards for how many staff you have, how many hours they work, how many hours of training they do, etc. The traditional stuff to come up with number of hours that your staff or your team can actually do work for. And then you get to a stage of knowing how many clients you can actually do that work for and work out your capacity now. So many people I see trying to get to 100% capacity with the current clients that they've got, or at least somewhere between 90 and 95. And that really is terrible. That's when the wheels fall off, when you can't actually provide those services, because there's no way you can run at that level if your clients are growing as well, if your clients are people who want extra things from you. So we always recommend run it somewhere around that 70 to 80% capacity and allow your clients to really, really grow with you during the year. Allow them to come back to you and ask for additional things. Allow yourself to be able to do more things with those actual clients as well. And don't forget, during the year, unless you're not doing this specifically, you're likely to be able to take on additional clients. But the other part of the conversation that we continually have as accountants, yes, we understand the services, we understand how long it takes, we know how many people we have, we know how many clients we have, so we can work out over the course of a year whether we have any extra capacity or not. But the other thing that always comes up in this discussion is our lodgement deadlines. So sometimes we're really, really busy to get things done for that deadline, and other times we aren't so busy. There are ways that you can actually overcome this or fix this per se. You can certainly look at scheduling all of your clients' work that you do from a financial statements and tax perspective and non-due date specific things to spread across the year so that you can fill those gaps. And it is pretty easy to work out when your really, really hard times are from a lodgement perspective versus not. But the other way that I see more and more people doing at the moment is they're bringing in this notion of a flexible workforce. So they're saying to their guys, okay, in the week leading up to lodgement deadline, we need everybody to be working a lot more hours, and in a couple of the weeks after, you might be able to have a half a day off or whatever that might be. So having this notion of a flexible workforce, and we had a great discussion between a few of us on a webinar earlier this week, so we'll link that as well. Being able to have this flexible workforce, which means you can be flexible in delivering your services, really helps in understanding your capacity and being able to dial that up and dial that down when you need to. So that's a wrap on episode 15. You may notice that I'm rocking the side pony today. It's 80s day in the office with DJ Spice on the decks. So we like to mix things up on a Friday and certainly have R&B Friday or 80s or 90s and certainly have a lot of fun with that as well. As always, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Keep those questions coming. I've loved our conversations this week and I'll see you all next week.